Hello everyone, welcome to the 8th session of Python School, and today we're going to talk about file handling. So as it was mentioned, my name is Roman, full name is Roman Tolstoshev, and some info about me. So I'm 4th year information security student at Baku Higher Oil School, and also I'm working as application security specialist in Intershop. At the same time, I'm vice president of BHOS Cyber Club in the field of programming. So we have special branch for programming division, and I'm responsible for that. As well, I'm Huawei certified specialist in cloud computing, and I have vocational education as a Java developer. And I'm here to blow your minds. Yes, so I want you to feel that you really understood something new and you're out of your comfort zone. So that's why let's have a look at our table of contents. And yeah, so firstly, we're going to understand what the hell is going on, or as the cybersecurity is saying, what the heck is going on. Then we will going to talk about some basic operational files, structured text files, and binary files. So first of all, let's try to understand what is it. So what's a file handling? So quite a long word, and interesting word. So you can just read from the slide, but personally, I would say that it's just creating files on your computer and manipulating with them. As a user of computer, you can do what? You can create files, you can create folders, you can group files into the folders, you can modify files, edit them, so on. Do whatever you want. And that's quite interesting. How can you do this using not your mouse or not your keyboard, but Python? And that's why we're going to try it today. So my first question for you. So I know that you are, I don't know, have a 4 year of industrial experience in Python, in machine learning by Python, and automation by Python. But do you know this terminology called absolute path, relative path, and file name? So please, I need your voices. So do you know these words, this terminology? Further, next. So as a file, first of all, let's define what's a file. So file it's something that's located on your hard drive or SSD, so on your storage device. In some operation systems, files and so in some operation systems we call it files. For example, in Windows, everything is object, so we call it object. But the thing is, Python consider everything as a file, like Linux doing. So, for example, Linux doing as a file. So yeah, and folders, plain text files, structured files, and binary files, all of them are handled like a file, files, even folders. Yes, but folders have a bit differences. We'll look at them, and there are three most important things about files. So it's we have plain text files. So plain text files I just showed you before. So this new file txt, I can open it with any editor. For example, you can use Notepad. You can use Notepad++, anything apart from some doc folder, some document readers like a Word or Excel. So no, just open it with your Notepad and just try to write something. So like this. So and this is a not empty. This is a plain text file. So simple. I don't use any additional software like a Word or WordPad. I am just using my Notepad and editing it. Or you can use your Python idle or PyCharm to create this kind of files. They are called plain plain text files. Sometimes we can have some structured text files. What does it mean? Okay, that's my text file. For example, I can use it for my notes. My new note. That's good. But let's assume that I want to somehow make a structure for this file. For example, I can do something like this. I can use braces and type like a name, my new note. Yeah. Then content, some content. So as you can see, this file is still understandable by a person, yes, so by a human being. It is still text that you can read, that you can understand, but it's a bit structured, and it is structured to machine understand it. So if I want to process it for some machine, for some program can understand it. Or maybe if you're familiar with data science and everything related to that, maybe you have worked with comma-separated files or CSV files. For example, you have name, surname, and let's say address, email, yeah? And you work it in this way. So for example, Roman, surname is Tolstoyshev, and email it is roman@mail.us, let's say. And as you can see, it is not like a normal text file. It is more like some structure. It has some structure, and we call that structure comma-separated file. We will talk about comma-separated files. We're going to process them, and some binary files. What does it mean? As you can see, when we work with some programs like a Microsoft Office programs, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, they're producing some format that cannot be read by just with Notepad. You have to download and install some additional software for that, like Office, Microsoft Office, or MP3. So it's a music format. So have you ever tried to open MP3 file with Notepad? Maybe. By the way, let me make some interaction with you. Have you ever opened some MP3 files or maybe doc files or JPEG files with Notepad?
I opened and there were just some texts, not music.
Yes. So yes, I know some people that they think that maybe if I open MP3 file with Notepad, I will get the lyrics of the song, but it's not true, unfortunately, because it's a binary format. What we can do, we can create a new document file and call it my document. It can contain some strings, something that you can read. For example, that's a simple document file, and let me open it with Kate. Again, Kate is my Notepad. I'm a Linux guy, so yeah, so something like this. It's not possible to understand what's written here. Maybe I cannot, maybe you can, but I think the vast majority cannot. It means that we need to use some special software. We cannot open it by Notepad or anything. We use some, in my case, it is a WPS writer, which is basically Word for Linux, because Linux doesn't have native Word. Yeah, but it's open. It will open 3 hours. But anyway, you got the idea. And inside it, it's empty, so nothing is written here. Okay, it's loading. Wait, it's load. Yeah, so it is empty. I don't want a new version. So it is empty. But in the Kate is saying me, again, Kate, I closed it by some reason. Kate is saying me that there is something. So because it's not appropriate program for reading it, and we need to use some additional libraries or additional codecs to process this kind of files. So that was an intro to the file types. Let's go next. What can we do with files? So if it was a development session related to the Python programming, I will say something like, okay, we have a CRUD operation, or CRUD, create, remove, update, delete. But as I know that audience is not so like a developer friend, let's say, I will interpret it in my own way. So firstly, what we can do, we can list. So we can, in Python, we can list, we can understand which files are located in some folder, or which directories are located in some folder. For that reason, we can use OS list dir for directories. Actually, it's working with both files and directories. So OS list dir, and you will receive, I will show you later, the entire list of the files. Or we can do it with another thing called path. We need to use additional library for that, and the result will be the same. Then, about creating a modification. With Python, we can create files, as we made with our Notepad. We created some simple TXT file, and we can read from that files. We can modify that files. So it is possible using this open command, or we can create directories using osmkdir. Then we can play with files. We can copy files. We can move files to some directory. For example, copy, it stands for copy. We got it. But move, it stands for cutting files. For example, I want to change position of one file from one folder to another folder. I don't copy it. I just move it. I press Ctrl X and put it to the folder where it should be. So in Python, I do move. Sounds so simple. And for that reason, I will use shutil or shutil library. And deleting, for delete file, I can use os remove or os remdir for directories. For now, it seems like maybe not easy, but at least understandable, I believe. So we can understand which files do we have, create new files or modify existing ones, replace them or their positions, and delete them. So that's the first thing that I'm going to show you. It's about listening directories. So basically, we can listen directories or understand which files are located. Let's play a bit. So I created separated what's the name of that? Notebook for that session, and let's do this. So first of all, to list, I need to import this library. OS. OS stands for operation system. Operation system is I believe you know what's this. It's a Windows, Linux, so on. And basically, this module interacts with that operation system and try to get some functionalities from that. So I imported OS, and then, as it mentioned here, I need to access to it like this, os.listdir, and there I specify the path that I want to listen. I want to understand which folders are here. os list dir. Then in quotations, I will write something like this. You can replace it with any folder you want. And let's see what's happening. You see what I got? So I got the content of this TMP folder. And really, if I go, I believe it should be here. If I go somewhere to the TMP folder, you see, I got exactly the same content that is mentioned here. So I understood, using this command, I got which files I have in this TMP folder. So simple, so easy. Another thing that we can do, as you can see, it is what it is array. It's a list. There is no arrays in Python. There are lists. So we have list of some txt elements. Yeah, it means that, as it mentioned here, I can iterate over that and maybe play with that. So again, I will do what? I will do, let's say, for my file in os list dir again tmp. Let me just print it before. So I will just print this list. Print my file. Yeah. First of all, let's understand whether it's working or not. So it is working. And let's say I want to play with my add something, for example, file in tmp folder or directory and plus sign. Actually, we don't need space here. And yeah, so we got this message and files. So with that OS and OS list dir, we can listen files in my directory. Another thing that we can do, it is using paslib. So it's more advanced. It's considered more advanced. And I will show you why. So first of all, we need to import paslib from path. Let's do it in this way. Import paslib from path. I believe I'm doing in the, sorry, import, I believe I made a mistake. Yes, from paslib import. Yeah, from paslib import path. Yeah, everything's okay. From paslib import path. So from that library, I'm importing path function. Path, just path. And then I will do the same, but comment it's a bit different. So first of all, I create an object of path. I have heard that you already had a section about object-oriented programming in Python. So basically, I create object of path with this property, and then using its method iterdir, iterating over this directory. So even I will copy that, and let's see what's happening. So the interesting thing that it will create you some stuff that you cannot understand. So it's not like this, yeah. It's completely not like this. The thing is, it is a generator, and I don't know whether you had or not session about generators, but it's something that you need to iterate over. So I will iterate again. So you cannot just print it like this. It's not a list of strings. No, it's a generator of paths. For my file in, I will copy this one. Yeah. And oops, 1 second, I made a mistake. Yeah. Print my file. Now it should work. Yeah. So now it is showing me files that are located in that folder. And one question from you, for you actually. So what's the difference between this output and this output? Please look closer. I just gave information about this. Look at this one. Any comments? No ideas? Okay, let me see.
Just first one is list.
Yes, that's a list. So yes, that's a list. But okay, let me remove this one.
One of them is file name and another is relative or absolute file path.
Exactly, exactly. So this one, it's a relative path because this like a OS function, not OS, sorry, this OS library went to the TMP folder and just listened to it. So basically the execution of the program was done inside this TMP folder, and it just printed file names or even not file names, relative file paths of that folder. So all objects or files that are located inside this folder were printed as a relative path. However, when we're using this thing, this path-lib, it provides us absolute path. And that's why I call it more advanced and more beneficial, because without knowing absolute path, sometimes you can have problems. I mean, you will not just access this folder if you don't know the absolute path, because you don't know the location. For example, you're running your program on desktop and you need some file in this TMP folder. So how you know the location of that file? So that's why absolute path, sometimes we need them. And this path-lib is beneficial for us. So it's about listening files. Let's go to the creating of files. So apart from listening, we can create files. Let me go back to, oops, not this one. Let me go back to my folder or refresh where it's located. Okay. Never mind. Let me play with creation of files. So as I mentioned before, creating and to create file, in Python we just need to open it. Yes, it seems a bit cumbersome, but in reality we have something like this. So the thing is, open will create file or open file for you if it doesn't exist in some cases. So open, it's a it's a function actually. It's a function that accepts two parameters. Actually, it can accept more, but we just need two. And one of the parameters, it is file name or absolute path or relative path, wherever. So you can put whatever you want there. And second thing, it is access modifier. Access modifier, it's a way how this file will be accessed. So it can be just for reading. You can just read file without modifying it. It can just write to it. So from scratch, so it will delete the content inside it. Create file if it doesn't exist, and append to this file. So there is a huge difference between write and append. Actually, there's a huge difference between all of them. But let's go step by step and understand the differences. So let's assume that I have some file. I want to create some file in my TMP folder. By the way, can I access what we will see it? So let me create a folder in TMP called directory called my file.txt. So if I do like this, I will get an error. Why? Because file does not exist. So there is no such file. But if I write something like this, which stands for write, it will automatically understand that, okay, if it's not if there is no file, I can create it. And yeah, so file is created. Let's don't consider this thing for now. We will know it later. So there is a new file that's located. Let's use our knowledge about listening files to verify whether my file is created or not. And as you can see, my file txt successfully created. And yeah, even I can access it, you see? So nothing written here. And one important part. So when you work with this W, which stands for write, it means that it will write it from the scratch. If I modify my document and save it, so something like this, and execute my program again, what's going to happen? Actually nothing, but it should delete it. No, by some reason it doesn't delete it, but anyway, let's assume that it's a problem of Google Colab. The thing is, it should create it from the scratch, but anyways. Yeah. Next thing that we need to know, it is another access modifiers. That stands for read, that stands for write, that stands for create. Yeah, so in our case, file is already existing. So let's run it again. And you see, I'm getting an error because file is existing and it's not possible to create it. If I remove it, delete the file, yeah, and run my cell again, no problems, because file is created from the scratch. Yeah, file is created from the scratch. And if I run it again, file existing, so I get my error. So for now, just remember this one. We will use it later. And about mkdir, so we can create directories as well. Let's do this in this way. So let me rewrite it to the W, so it will not show me any error. And I create another code cell. So I will create my directory again in that folder, in TMP folder, and listen it. Oh, not there. Yeah, I got error because I created it 2 times. 1 second. Let me delete it. Right now, we don't know how to delete, but we will learn it later. Okay. So again, I'm executing it. And yeah, so my dir is created and it is here. Very nice, very super. Another thing, so okay, we got know that R stands for read and W stands for write. And it means that by some way, we telling Python how to work with that. And it means that we somehow close the resource. So when we're working with some files or folders or objects in operation system, we need to consider states of that objects. Yes, that's called a resource management generally. And when we use open, it is open file for us. And when we also can use close to close file and flush the file. Flush is using for writing the end lines of the file. So of course, maybe we cannot notice it. And if we go deep, it will be a long lecture about file systems. But when you open some files, have you, my question for you, have you ever opened one file in 2 programs? Like, for example, one file in 2 Word, it's not possible actually, but for example, have you ever opened one file in 2 programs, let's say? Do you have some samples for that? Okay, and have you ever got some errors that it is opened into programs?
No, I can't.
Okay. It just like a fortune because normally programs should handle this kind of problems, but normally when you trying to access one resource, one file, it means that one process is locking it. and nobody can access it except that process or another processes that has high privileges, like root privileges or admin privileges. That's why we need to handle this problem. After opening some resource, we need to close it properly. So after opening file, so when I do something like this, when I open my file, it means that some process opens this one and keep it open. It's not good because another process maybe gonna have some problems with accessing it, or not all data from my current process will be written. So if by some reason two processes, like two instances, for example, of Python, two Python programs trying to access one txt file, there's a possibility that one of them first will get error with accessing, and second will get false information about the file. So for example, imagine two people, they're using one sheet of paper, and maybe there's a possibility that when one's writing something to that sheet of paper, another trying to read it, and because not material was read by the first person, second person will not get entire data in that sheet, because one part is not written completely. So for example, I just started one word, but there is a sentence, and I just wrote two words out of my sentence, and another person will not able to read my sentence completely because there is only two words. So I haven't finished, and that guy will not be able to understand my sentence. That's why we need to work in such a way that we open the file and then close it, open and close it. Just remember it and keep it like take it like a good practice, best practice, and you will not have any problems in the future. Do we have some? Yes, we have some things about editing file. So as you can see, I opened my file. Then wrote some data inside it. Then I trying to read my file and then print it, and then I close it. So let's just copy paste this program and trying to understand what's happening here. So yeah, some word stuff. So I opened my file txt. I wrote some hello world. So as you can see, to write something to the file, we just need to write. I will nextly explain what we're doing here. 1 second. Yeah, quite interesting stuff. Was not closed, and now it's closed. Okay, let me rewrite it. Maybe we can have some problems because of the word, because it has own some problems related to that, as you can see. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Like this. Like this. And yeah, once again, one problem here. Yeah, like this. So let me firstly open the file. I will use the same file. And of course, to write something inside my file, I have to use W option. So what I'm doing here, I'm creating my file and sending reference to that file to my file variable. So I believe all you know what's a reference. It's like I'm creating an object of type file, and setting to my file. Then I access, I using write method of my object file to write something inside it. In my case, it's hello world. Then I just trying to read the content of my file using read and print it. So what do we have here? First of all, file is not readable. First thing, why? Because we opened it with wrong privileges. We opened with W privileges. If I'm not mistaken, if I put it like in this way, yeah. So if I want to open a file both for writing and reading, I need to put this plus sign here. So the thing is, by some reason, it is empty. How do you think? Why?
Because we didn't close the file after writing it.
Yes, exactly. So what we did, we write something to the file, then we try to access its content, then we're trying to print it, and then we close it. So basically, the thing is, operation system is lazy. It's very lazy, and it will not do something until you ask it. So basically, you ask it to finish work with files only when you write close. That's the reason. And that's why until that statement, nothing is written to that file. Yes, unfortunately. But let's do our best and try to fix it. How we can fix it? First of all, we need to separate our statements into the two parts. In the first part, we will just write the hello world, and the second part, we will just read the content and print it. Let's do. First of all, yeah, I will just remove this part. I created my file and wrote some content inside it. It's okay, there is no problem with that. And then what I'm doing, again, I can use the same thing. I open my file again, I'm using the same variable name, it's not a problem for us. And then instead of write, I put read. Then I opened my file for reading. Then I can read it. My file, read, and for example, line. I read one line. And then I try to print it, or content, let's say. Content. And then I'm printing it. Content. And again, best practices. Do we need the content here? No. So it means that we can close it. Okay, it is okay, but I forgot to close it. So let's just copy paste this part and close it. Like this. And again, the first thing, so it was really a problem of the collab that I opened file for writing, and that's my file txt. So it means that it means that this file existing here, so we can access it actually. Yes, you see, it's written here, hello world. And if I remove this line, I will not write anything to that file. And run it again, you see, I see empty line, nothing written here, and nothing is here. So it means that file was created from scratch. Everything was deleted, and yeah, the line was written from the scratch. But if instead of I will write it again, yeah. So I print the content of it again with. Yes, it's hello world is written here. And let's assume that instead of W, I will write A. So I append to that file. I append to it. Right now we have hello world inside it. And if I append hello world again, what's going to happen? So you see I have two hello worlds. And if I open my file, I see these two hello worlds. So the difference between W and A is that A, it stands for append, so it will add next line to the end of file, and write will create it from the scratch. So that's the difference between that things. Next thing that we're going to cover here, it's another way. So, okay, maybe by some reason you can forget about a close statement and how to handle this. To close it automatically, we can use this with statement. So it's also like a more complete way how to work with that. We use with statement, my text file as my file, and I write hello world here, and nothing bad will happen. So let me, I will just, as we get ready, we running out of the time, so I will just try to make it faster. With my file, or how it's written here, open, yeah. With open, for example, TMP, and okay, let me just copy it. Oh, like this. With open, as, and there I want to specify a nickname for my file. So there I assign to the variable, but there I specify a nickname. So you know that as is used for the nicknames. As my file, and I can do whatever with my file inside my scope. My file, right, and again hello world, something like this, and that's it. I no need to close it. I run it, everything is okay, and if I open my file again, you see hello world is appended to my file, because I first of all used append, and there is no any problems, so I don't need to close it. Then copy, move, and delete. So we can play with our files. We can copy it, we can move them, and we can remove them. So to use this functionality, we need to use shutil library, and to remove, we need to use OS library. So again, let me create another cell here, and okay, I will write it from scratch. So import shutil, one thing, and then I want to copy my file txt to some new place or a new position, let's say. So what I'm doing, I'm just writing shutil, and you see there is a copy file, so on. But for now, we'll just write copy. And first of all, what I'm going to copy, I want to copy my file txt to my file txt. Don't forget about quotation marks. My file txt.1. So, and that's it. And as you can see, it has created a file for me. And if I update my tree, I can see my file is created here. The same I can do with move. I just can move this folder. And if I want to remove, I need to import OS, and then OS remove. And for example, this my file txt here, and run it. And if we update our tree, you see the file disappeared. Then it was about not structured files like raw files, but there are structured text files. So as I mentioned, there are CSV files, there are JSON files, there are XML files, there are property files. So they're using some structure to be interpreted by some program or software. So that's the way how can we create CSV file actually. That's my I believe you know what's a CSV file. Do you know what's a CSV file? Okay, no ideas. Let me explain. So actually, I explained it at the beginning of the session somehow.
It's the file that comma separated values, it means.
Exactly. So to simplify was my job, I just I just open it in Google. So it is like a table. It's a table file, but instead of like separators, like rows, you see in the Excel, open the image in a new tab and open image in a new tab again. So if we go, sorry for the quality, so but the idea is that in the Excel, we're using some bars to separate files. But in the CSV files, instead of bars, we're using commas, like here, comma. And one comma, it's one cell. So John, one cell, Doe, one cell, 120 Jefferson Street, dot, then comma, so it's one cell, again one cell, and so on. So it's like a table, and like a separators, we're using commas. So, and let's assume that I want to create a table like this. So name, age, and city. Elise, 30, New York, Bob, 25, Los Angeles, and Charlie, 35, Chicago. So I have some data. It's my list of lists, actually, two-dimensional list. And to write it to the file, I will just use this with open as a file and then dump. It's called dump. I dump my data as a CSV file. So easy.
Roman, sorry, your microphone makes some noises. Can you fix it?
1 second. Okay, is it okay right now? Still?
No, again, some weird noises, like a robot, let's say. I don't know.
Is it still a problem? If yes,
It's fixed. Yes, it's good.
wow, quite interesting. I did nothing. Yeah, so let's yeah, and we need more 30 minutes, so we're about to finish. So let's do it faster. Yeah, I will just, to simplify again the process, I will just copy paste the code for my presentation and work with that. So and explain it step by step. So first of all, I need to import my CSV. It's a library. Okay, it's a library, and then I initialize my array of list of lists. Yeah, like this. Yeah. Again, sorry for this interesting problems of copy pasting from Word for PowerPoint presentation, but yes, they're existing. So I created my data list, that basically list of lists, and let's assume that I want to create a CSV file from that. Let's do this. So what I'm doing, I'm using with open again. So instead of creating like writing open and then close, I use my another comprehensive this way. And then, yeah, I open my file. First of all, I create a writer, instance of writer, and then row by row. So it means that each sub list of my two-dimensional list, it's a row. So one row, second row, third row, fourth row. Yeah, like this. And I write my data to that CSV file, people.csv. So, and let me locate it again in TMP folder so I can access it easily. And let's run it. Yeah. Again, update my folder. And as you can see, even it was interpreted by this tool, by this collab. That's a table. So basically I created a table of name, age, and city. Is it possible to change page layout? Okay, let me download it to show that it is really really a comma separated file. So yeah, as you can see, it is separated by commas, and all data that we had in our list, we dumped to our comma separated file. Again, let's go back. So I opened my file people CSV in write mode. There is also one option called new line. We're using it to when we every time write a file, when every time we specify a new entity that is written, like a new data that is written, we don't use this /n, we use this empty space. It is required by actually CSV somehow, because, for example, name, if I write name, so it will be like this, yeah? But with new line, empty, it will not be like this. Then what I'm doing, I open Drive Writer. So there's in CSV, there is a for like a method that returns me a writer. And using that writer, I use option write row that writes one row of data, and row in my data, it's one. So simple, nothing complicated. And at the end, I got my list. Very, very simple. So it was about CSV files and about binary data. Actually, the way how we deal with it, stop, I'm not finished with CSV because there is another way how to work with that. So as I will use it later, I will also need to show it. So we can also import CSV, by the way. So we do it in this way. So we open CSV as a file, then we load to the reader and append to the data, and we can work with that data. So simple. But a more advanced way how to deal with this, it is using pandas. So pandas, it's a library specially dedicated to work with some data sheets, like a CSV files, JSON files, whatever. And it can easily, within 2 commands, write, do all these jobs, like opening file, or reading it, appending to the data list, so on. We can just do it with the pandas with these 2 steps. Let me do it again. Code like this. Again, this stupid mistakes. People CSV like this, and yeah. And not people CSV, but TMP CSV. Okay, let's run it. And you see Bob. And really, if we go to the first row where program is 0, so 0, 1, 2, and that's a Bob on the first row, and the 0 column, 0 column means that it's our first column name, and the data inside it, it's a Bob. So simple, so easy. We easily imported that array, that CSV file. And talking about binary data, we can also have some problems when we're working with the doc files, JPEG files, and PDF files. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's not easy to open them. We need to have some special software. And actually, pandas can handle it anyway. We just need to use this one OpenPyXL engine. I think we need to install it, not install it, but import it. But let's see what's going to happen. So let's assume that I want to dump my df, like it's my data, this data, but in CSV format. Right now it's in CSV. So before it was just a list of lists. Right now it's a CSV. And I want to dump my CSV as an Excel sheet. To do that, I can just do this df to Excel. Let me again. So again, we need to copy it to the TMP folder before. Not copy, work with the TMP folder actually. So we specify the file name where the file, to which file will be dumped. Index false, it means that you see we can add this indexes 1, 2, 3 here, but we don't need them. And engine, it's OpenExcel. So as I mentioned before, we need some additional software. In this case, it will be engine. Fortunately, it is provided by Python. And let's run it. And yeah, everything is done. Let's update. You see there is no Excel file, but if I update my folder, you see there is a people XLSX, which stands for Excel file. If I open it, you see I have to download it to open, and I opened with my local spreadsheets reader. You see the same data that we got, but in this time, not as like a CSV, but Excel format. XLX. Okay, I'm so sorry for the bit buggy software, but never mind. So simple, so easy. And another thing, if I somehow want to read my data from the Excel file, I can just do read Excel. Again, not text, but code. Again, I will use my TMP folder. Read. And yeah, now I can access it like I made it before. I can print something like this. For example, this time let it be 2. So it's a Charlie, really. And if I access it something like this, so it's a 35. So again, the same thing. We imported Excel file, and very easy. So we finished with that. And so what we learned. So first of all, we understood the OS layer. So we can do whatever we want with files, creating, removing, or deleting using some OS functionalities like OS, shlib, open, so on. We can do our file operations. We can remove files, we can delete files, we can modify files, we can append to the files, do whatever you want. And the most important thing, we can work both with binary files and both with binary files and text files. Binary, it's files that I mentioned before, XLS file, like a JPEG. We can also work with Python with JPEG. And text files, it's CSV files or simple raw TXT files. So thank you for your attention here. And if you have some questions, I'm eager to listen to your questions. Maybe you misunderstood something, maybe you don't understood something. Please. I believe my microphone is working. Okay, it seems like there is no question or nothing is understandable from my presentation. So your comments, your reactions. Hey.
Guys,
Okay.
don't be shy,
Yeah.
please.
I thank you for everything.
Thank you.
It's from other sessions because its content is different because it relates with files. It's interesting. I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, for your feedback. Another thing that I can recommend you, so if you want to learn more about Python, for example, from my side, you can always reach me by GitHub. So I have my GitHub account, and I believe that I should have something on Python here. It is, one second, it is, let me recall the name of the repository, and it is Linux, not Linux, but Python Labs. So you can see maybe some content, you can maybe learn something from this repository. It contains some labs that I did with Python, including files. If we search for files, yeah, so again, how to work with files, how to append from these files, so on. It is in lesson 19 even. So maybe you can somehow learn from that. Another thing, I believe it should be available for public, where I worked with files on quite professional level. One second. Yeah, this one. Basically, that's a real content, real working with files, and it should be folder controller, file controller, not controller, but forms maybe. No. Yeah, somewhere I should work with file. Yeah, folder, path, so from this repository, maybe you can understand how it works the file. So basically, the idea of that program is to select folder or file or Linux package and compress it to the another format called .b. So if you want to learn more about how to work with files and maybe zip files, maybe extract files, so on, you can learn from this repository as well. So yeah, and also feel free to reach me by LinkedIn or by Teams, so no problems. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for being here. I believe we can finish our session.